company.
Tonight on CTV3 News, BSAFA responds to BSI-ESR statement regarding fair trade premium payments. In the city, Jasmine Harton pleads guilty to manslaughter by negligence. 29 students and 4 adults in the Old Capital hospitalized after consuming sweets containing harmful chemicals. And we take you to the Crystal Palace, where the top spellers of Orange Walk battled it out for the Spelling Bee District Finals. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Tuesday, April 25th, 2023.
Integrated Ridge to Reef Management of the Mesoamerican Reef Ecoregion Project strengthens governance of the Mesoamerican reef system and creates conditions to position the ridge to reef approach in the management of water, coastal and marine resources. What is the ridge to reef approach? This approach consists in a broad view in plan, restore, implement government processes and good practices in human and economic activities throughout watershed to obtain in a sustainable way its benefits and avoid deterioration and loss of resources. Some of these benefits are water, food, fertile soil, fishing, tourism, flood protection, and drought resistance. Consider that everything that happens in the upper part of the watershed has effects on its middle and lower area and mainly in the ocean. Therefore, it is necessary to promote a change in behavior in the form in which we manage natural and cultural resources of the MER. If we continue deforesting forests, degrading soil quality, polluting surface and groundwater, the cost to replenish a natural aquifer recharge, fertilize the land and conserve natural resources will be greater. On the contrary, if we reforest deteriorated areas, the forest recharges groundwater, allowing species to inhabit and captures carbon from the atmosphere, which contributes to resilience of climate change. Good practices in agroforestry and crops reduce runoff by erosion, which avoids the loss of soils and the dragging of agrochemicals. By reducing erosion, watersheds and rivers do not receive large amounts of sediments, agrochemicals, and pollutants. Rivers without excess sediment allow the use of water below the watershed for agriculture and aquaculture, as well as for human and animal consumption. In addition, it avoids the siltation in the hydroelectric dams. If good practices in agriculture are added and good management in the discharge of industrial waters allows rivers to continue bringing their benefits to the lower part of the watershed, and by discharging water waste with proper treatment, we keep wetlands and mangroves healthy. A mangrove barrier on the shoreline helps stop excess sediment into the ocean, protects the shores from flooding, and provides habitat for terrestrial and marine species. Healthy coasts without excess sediment or pollution and with protected ecosystem give the ocean the ability to regenerate itself to keep coral reefs and seagrasses healthy. In this way, the ocean has the opportunity to produce food for marine species, for human consumption, and contribute to counteracting climate change. This vision demands coordination between the relevant actors and the stakeholders from the regional, national, and local levels. Only if we change the way we treat watershed resources will we have the opportunity to have these benefits. Watersheds conserved make healthy reefs. Reef management of the Mesoamerican Reef Ecoregion Project strengthens governance of the Mesoamerican reef system and creates conditions to position the ridge-to-reef approach in the management of water, coastal and marine resources. What is the ridge-to-reef approach? This approach consists in a broad view in plan, restore, implement government processes and good practices in human and economic activities throughout watershed to obtain in a sustainable way its benefits and avoid deterioration and loss of resources. Some of these benefits are water, food, fertile soil, fishing, tourism, flood protection, and drought resistance. Consider that everything that happens in the upper part of the watershed has effects on its middle and lower area and mainly in the ocean. Therefore, it is necessary to promote a change in behavior in the form in which we manage natural and cultural resources of the MAR. If we continue deforesting forests, degrading soil quality, polluting surface and groundwater, the cost to replenish a natural aquifer recharge.
Good evening with your news, also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. Late last night, the Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association issued its own release in response to a statement issued by BSI-ESR late last week regarding fair trade premium payments methodology. As we told you on Friday, BSI-ESR reported in their release that following a meeting between the BSCFA and Tate and Lyle's Julia Clark, it was clarified that fair trade premiums have, quote, been duly paid by TLS to the certified producer associations in Belize with which TLS has an agreement. No association has been overpaid or given what is due to another. Fair trade operates under a mass balance concept that focuses only on quantities of sugar and permits the mixing of sugar from different producers, end quote. In their release, the BSCFA says that despite statements by BSI-ESR that Tate and Lyle Sugars does not purchase fair trade sugar from BSCFA due to a breakdown in their relationship, TLS purchases fair trade sugar from Belize as a country and not from individual associations. The release adds, and we quote, the supplier of fair trade sugar from Belize to TLS is BSI-ESR. All four associations deliver sugar cane to BSI-ESR. The BSCFA affirms that the fair trade standards require only that BSCFA or any other cane farmer association have a valid fair trade certification and a commercial agreement with BSI-ESR to deliver fair trade certified sugar cane in order to receive fair trade premiums for any fair trade sugar sold, which BSCFA and the other cane farmer associations have, end quote. Chairman of the Committee of Management of BSCFA, Fred Ortega, spoke about the issue today during our morning show, adding that farmers of the BSCFA have indeed not been paid and are now looking at a solution for this issue, which has caused a major economic impact at the tune of almost $3 million.
Bueno, Cami, dentro de los estándares de Fair Trade para que una asociación, un SPO como ellos le ponen, que son Small Producers Organization, de la cual somos nosotros su asociación, ¿verdad? Lo único que tienes que tener son dos cosas. Uno es de que tengas un acuerdo con el ingenio, que es el agreement que le llamamos, y el otro es de que estés claro con tu certificación. ¿Qué quiere decir eso? Que no estás suspendido, no estás decertificado y que tu certificación está válido. Y BSCFA cumple con esos dos parámetros, porque de que no tengamos un long-term agreement con BSI no quiere decir que no tenemos un agreement. Lo que hemos firmado, como el del año pasado, vencía hasta en julio, así es que cubrió lo que es la zafra, y este año pues tenemos hasta en noviembre. Así es de que cumplimos nosotros con esos requisitos para que así podamos conseguir nuestro premio, y pues hasta, como ves, hasta ahorita no hemos conseguido nada. Pues aseguro que la porción de ahorita de estos primeros 2 trimestres que sí, que ya los pagó, pero en realidad pues nosotros, como mencioné, nuestra caña ha sido producido cumpliendo con los parámetros de Fair Trade. Nosotros cumplimos con la certificación, cumplimos con el agreement que tenemos firmado con BSI. Es cierto que no es a largo plazo, pero es un agreement que tenemos para entregar nuestra caña. Así es de que como BSCFA nosotros vemos eso como una injusticia ante nuestros cañeros, porque el cañero ha hecho el sacrificio de producir esa caña respetando los estándares de Fair Trade, y como lo ves, los estándares no son pocos. Hay un montón de cosas que tenemos que cumplir, tanto a nivel de campo como a nivel de administración. Así es de que BSCFA hemos estado cumpliendo con eso.
At this time, the BSCFA, according to Ortega, is now looking to the government to create legislation which will ensure a fair playing field for the farmers of the North.
Pues cambio en realidad afecta y afecta mucho. Y en realidad teníamos nosotros mucho otra perspectiva de lo que es el comercio justo. Y nosotros hemos estado luchando y seguimos luchando porque vemos el efecto que tiene sobre nuestros cañeros, vemos el efecto que tiene sobre nuestra asociación, y por esa razón es de que mencioné anteriormente de que tenemos la esperanza de que el gobierno ponga un fair playing field para todo mundo. Hoy es BSCFA y créeme que mañana va a ser uno que le van a estar haciendo lo mismo. Northern estaba llegando en lo mismo, y créeme que ahorita este movimiento, como lo están jugando, nos va a ir tocando a todos. Ahorita se están burlando de nosotros, de BSCFA, más adelante a otro le va a tocar. Ahorita lo que están tratando de hacer es destruir a BSCFA, pero gracias a Dios que tenemos a los cañeros que de corazón han estado apoyando esto, pero va a llegar en un momento, Cami, que ya no se va a poder aguantar más, porque la situación es, el cañero está viviendo esta situación en carne propia. Nuestros precios ni siquiera alcanzan lo que nuestros vecinos tienen alrededor. ¿Por qué? Por la misma manipulación, por el control de una sola compañía mercadeando nuestro azúcar. ¿Y quién es el que lo mercadea? Entre ellos mismos se mercadean el azúcar. Un hermano le vende al otro, y ahí es a donde le ponen el precio. Y esas son las injusticias, Cami, que como BSCFA le estamos pidiendo al gobierno que lo pare, que ponga las regulaciones necesarias para que así todos podamos gozar por ser cañeros.
This afternoon in the High Court in Belize City, Jasmine Hartin pleaded guilty to manslaughter by negligence for causing the death by gunfire of Police Senior Superintendent Henry Jamud in San Pedro Town. Sentencing has been set for May 31st. Hartin exclusively told our court reporter as she was leaving that I just want Henry's family to have peace now and for this whole thing to be behind us all so that we can all heal. Hartin engaged senior counsel Hubert Elrington and outside counsel and decided to plead despite insisting that the incident was accidental and the gun went off by mistake. The charge typically carries little to no prison time and a fine, though it is a charge more commonly seen with traffic accidents. Today, Hartin's attorney told the media a non-custodial sentence is expected.
Serious consideration, and our client obviously had just requested the sentence indication hearing and had the sentence indication hearing today. And
I understand that she would have preferred not to plead until a week had elapsed, but she pled today.
Well, I don't know that to be the case. She was considering her options, and after deliberation, after counsel by senior counsel, Hubert Elrington and myself, and after taking all things into consideration, especially I can tell you heavy on her heart in considering was to not put the family of the victim through the anguish of having to go through a trial proceeding. So she consistently expressed her concern about that, therefore found that it was necessary at this point in time to take the guilty plea for all parties involved.
What were the options that she was looking at in terms of, had she opted for an entire trial as opposed to this no, in terms of the sentencing?
Well, if you opt for an entire trial, then you open yourself, then you open the can of worms for all possibilities. You know, then the judge can render any verdict that he deems applicable, including a custodial sentence, including the maximum custodial sentence at that.
Okay,
and
and
in
now?
terms of the social inquiry, what was the issue with that? Was it the fact that, was it the case that it had started and it wasn't completed, or what was the issue?
Well, that seems to be some confusion with the court in that our client expressed the fact that she believed that the social inquiry was concluded, but the court records don't reflect that the social inquiry has been concluded, but she has absolutely no issue with going through that process again.
With a non-custodial sentence expected, Jasmine Harkin is expected to pay a huge fine.
The sentence indication hearing is an opportunity for the judge to indicate the confines to which he will render in his sentence. And so once it is that he today said that he will give a non-custodial sentence, and all the case law says that guilty plea to a matter at this point in the proceeding shows that it should have a fine as opposed to confinement. He is limited to a fine. However, the quantum of that fine is where he would still have great latitude, and he had, as he indicated in the court, he would have to go into further research to determine the quantum of that fine, and that is what he would need the time, and that will be determined, as you would have heard as well, based on submissions that will be made later on. I believe our submissions are due back by the 26th of May as to what will be the quantum of those, either fine and compensation, or either of the two.
Sir, is there a guarantee that she will not be looking at that she will not be looking at a custodial sentence? Because while President says 90% of these cases do not end up in a custodial sentence, there's
Not 10%.
Yes, no, once it is that the judge, that is the purpose of a sentence indication hearing. So once the judge indicates at the sentence indication hearing, that is the highest that he can go. All right, so sometimes you would indicate maybe in another sentence indication hearing, we say, well, between 10 and 15 years, well, 15 years is the maximum that you can get. You can get lower than that, but you cannot get higher than that. So the fact that he has limited himself to a non-custodial sentence, yes, it is set in stone that it will be a non-custodial sentence. I think he relayed that on multiple occasions at the bar, that once it is he has made that indication, he is now restricted and restrained, arrested from making any other type of declaration at his sentence, at his actual sentence.
While Hartin has other matters pending at court, including a custody case, her guilty plea today should not affect those hearings.
She has other proceedings in civil court and in other courts, which may or may not be impacted by this. But again, her matter of paramount consideration was what is in the best interest of the family and what is in the best interest of justice. And she felt that this was the best decision for us to be able, for the family to be able to move on, and for herself and her family to be able to move on.
As mentioned, sentencing is expected for May 31st. 33 Belize City residents, including 29 school children ages 5 to 15, are currently hospitalized at the Carl Huschner Memorial Hospital after ingesting candies believed to have been laced with drugs. The students, mostly from St. Luke Methodist Primary School, are said to have purchased these packages filled with gummies and other treats. After ingesting the candies, several of the students reportedly began to display symptoms of lethargy, vomiting, nausea, and headache. Students were rushed to the KHMH where a mass casualty code was triggered in response of the high number of students admitted to its accident and emergency unit after seemingly consuming said treats. Late this evening, CEO of the KHMH, Chandra Nisbet Cancino, gave a rundown of the situation inside the hospital.
Approximately 1:30, we received an influx of a few children that were exhibiting symptoms of nausea and vomiting, lethargy, etc. And so we were alerted, and we just, I think about 15 minutes more, a few more came in, and so we had to come down to see what was going on.
Do you have a number in respect of the school children who have been admitted to ward?
I think so far we have approximately 27 children and I think 3 adults.
What are some of the symptoms you're noticing with them?
Primarily lethargy, nausea, vomiting, headache, dizziness, and some with a little bit of tremors.
And how are they being treated?
Well, we have protocols in place for the treatment of those symptoms with the suspicion that they ingested something.
So can you talk to us about dealing with a situation like this where you have a large number of incoming patients?
Yes, we have already instilled the mass casualty code, and so that is currently in effect to ensure that we can bring out staff to ensure that the patients are all well taken care of and everything at this time is under control.
Are you all responsible, or how do you go about testing to see if these children have drugs in their system?
We have routine tests that we do, urinalysis and blood tests that are currently at the lab awaiting the toxicology reports.
And how long do you expect that they will remain in hospital for something like this?
It's hard to say. Their symptoms are being monitored. Some have more symptoms than others, so that would depend on what the doctor decides.
Can you give us an idea perhaps of the youngest age that you're dealing with in here?
Yes, they range from ages 4 to adult.
The police department was also called out to assess the situation and have since detained several persons believed to have been involved in some way with the distribution of these packs.
So far, we have recovered several packages of gummies, which the students claim they had consumed. Presently, several searches are being conducted within Belize City, and we have recovered several packages, and investigation continues at this time. Total persons is 33, 4 adults.
Anybody detained as yet?
Yes, we have several persons detained, and searches are being conducted at this time.
These people were found with the packets?
Yes, some of them were found with the packages of gummies.
If persons are charged for this incident, what would be the charge?
At the end of the investigation, based on all the evidence we recovered, we will look at it and then determine what the charges will be.
Would it possibly be viewed as perhaps an act of terrorism against these children?
Again, we cannot see at this time. The investigation will show that thereafter, because we need to await the results from the forensic laboratory, what is contained in these gummies.
So what can you tell us about those individuals, or the persons detained at this time? A male, a woman, a man, whether they're vendors of sorts? Where they're from?
I will not disclose where they're from. There are several persons that are detained and are being interviewed. We will have that information when it becomes available.
Are they cooperating?
Yes, some of them are cooperating.
And the ages of the detained?
I cannot say their ages at this time.
At this time, police are also carrying out testing to determine the exact substance present in the candies and who is responsible for its release into the general population.
The students' priority right now is that they be treated here, and as soon as they are released, then we will arrange for interviews and statements to be recorded. Samples have been taken to the forensic laboratory to determine what substance is contained in these gummies.
Is there concern over perhaps a wider distribution than just St. Luke's? We were talking to a parent just now who said that somebody gifted her 7 bags of those candies and she took it home.
Yes, that is a concern that it was distributed in a wide area within Belize City. And so we are advising the public that if they come across any of these gummies, not to consume it and to call us so that we go and retrieve them so that they can be tested.
As students from St. Luke's Primary were being sent home shortly after 1 today, our colleagues at Creme News spoke to one panicked grandmother whose grandson was taken to the hospital. Olga Gordon says she does not understand why anyone would want to harm children.
So I started to ask questions, and they're saying that the children, they purchased something, that the lady came to the gate and was selling something, and the kids, they purchased this thing, and all of them started to get sick. Just a while ago, a kid was going home and we had to grab her and took her in back because she was fainting. A young lady was saying to me that her kid's aunt, she bought one and she's in the hospital right now.
So this is an adult as well?
And this is an adult, but come to understanding, some children from St. Martin's heard about it and came out here to purchase, and they're getting sick likewise. But my thing is, how much of this is on the street right now, you know? How much kids have ate this stuff right now? It might not only be St. Luke, you know, it might be at a school. So I'm begging the police and I ask them to please start to confiscate this from all around. Try to go into the stores, into the markets, everywhere that have this, and start to pull this in. And then we need to find out who brought this here. I want to know if they know what is in the package. That is my first thing. If they know what is in this package. And if they know what is in this package, why send it to our kids? We're not tired of our children there? We don't want to kill them out? Come on, they're not for no responsibility. They all have their mother and their grandmother, so they are not your responsibility for one killing. My first thing when I get out here, where the lady there? Because I'm more fine.
So you know the children are saying that it's a...
To me one lady, they buy from some lady.
They didn't identify what ethnicity.
Lady, some dark lady. And the police said they were going for her. So I don't know if the police know where she is, where she lives, but my first thing, I'd want to see who is this lady.
And then if that's the case, then the children should be able to identify who it is.
Who they bought it from. I get the kids know who they bought it from, because then several kids.
Late this evening, the government of Belize issued a press release on the matter, informing that the Office of the Prime Minister has instructed that a full and thorough investigation be conducted to determine the source of the contaminated sweets. The release adds that initial information is that the treats were purchased from 2 individuals who are now in police custody, along with some recovered items. During their interviews, the suspects claimed that the treats were purchased from another source. The Commissioner of Police has instructed that a thorough investigation be conducted to identify the primary source of the product. Additionally, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Kevin Bernard, is advising parents to monitor their children for signs and symptoms of vomiting, abdominal pain, dehydration, and profuse sweating, which may be signs of marijuana intoxication. If anyone presents these symptoms, they should visit their nearest health facility. Internationally, the world celebrates Denim Day tomorrow as it engages in activities for a movement for supporters to take a stand against sexual assault. Both men and women suffer from this type of violence, as do children. Most child victims of a sexual assault are between 12 and 17 years old, according to the World Health Organization. Peace Over Violence, an organization dedicated to stopping sexual and domestic violence, launched Denim Day in Los Angeles in the year 1999. It was launched as part of an international protest following the Italian Supreme Court's 1998 decision to overturn the conviction of a driving instructor who had been convicted of raping an 18-year-old woman during her first driving lesson in 1992. In Belize, organizations have also welcomed the idea of using jeans to work tomorrow as a symbol of support. Thea Garcia from the National Women's Commission spoke to us about the importance of Denim Day in Belize.
April 26th is observed worldwide as Denim Day, and the story behind Denim Day is that in 1998, on that same day, April 26th, the Italian courts overturned a rape conviction, and the reason that they gave for that is that the woman's jeans were too tight and that the perpetrators or the rapists could not have been able to remove her jeans unless she had helped them. And so that implied consent, and they overturned the rape conviction. In response to that, the women in the Italian parliament showed up to parliament the following day on April 26th in jeans as a sign of protest and in solidarity with survivors of sexual violence and sexual abuse. And so that is the story of Denim Day, and that is why on April 26th of every year, or the last Wednesday in the month of April, is when people all over the world wear denim as a show of support for survivors of sexual violence and in solidarity with them. There is the campaign was started by Peace Over Violence, which is an organization. It is currently still, that campaign is still going, and it is currently the longest running campaign against sexual violence in the world. So they have done a very good job. And basically what we want to do on April 26th is to overturn the myths surrounding rape. It really doesn't matter what you're wearing. They've been victims in Pampers. And when I say Pampers, because they were months old. You can't blame a child for saying, okay, well, the child was looking for it or wanted it, any more than you can say that to an 18-year-old person because they were walking down the street at night. Nobody asks to get raped.
Denim Day takes place on the last Wednesday of April every year and encourages people to wear jeans or other clothing items made of denim as a symbol of protest against sexual assault. Coming up next, unremitting infrastructural work takes place in Orange Walk. Stay tuned.
Come on! When hungry or craving, when laughter or tears, enjoy the best snacking or flavors are here. Asadas, bocadas, chiladas, doradas, delicious for snacking, done right and done here. Anytime to Snackers. Done right, done here.
Something's been bothering me a little. I have done all the things a wife is supposed to do. The house, the meals. Where is the payback? I'm very attracted to you.
Oh.
Would you be interested in having an affair? You two just looked at each other like you got a secret. I just don't want anybody to get hurt.
What's your dream wedding?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll go first. I would wear something really cute, you know? Just festive. But not like white or bridal, because you gotta keep them guessing.
You gotta keep them guessing.
And I would walk down the aisle to the song Gloria by Laura Branigan. And of course, in my childhood, I dreamed that I would fly her in to sing it. But now, I have you.
Oh, Joel, you can't touch Branigan.
You can touch Branigan.
No Barbara, no Judy, no Branigan.
Come on.
Gloria, Gloria, I think they've got your number. Gloria, I think they've got the alias. Gloria, that you've been living under, but you really don't remember. Was it something that they said? All the voices in your head calling Gloria. Shake 'em, Gloria, Gloria. I think they got your number, Gloria.
If you have recently taken a stroll through center of town, you might have been witness to the unremitting infrastructural work spearheaded by the Orange Walk Town Council as they continue their work to have more streets paved in the Orange Walk Central constituency. At this time, works are in full swing as several connecting streets are being prepped to be paved. This includes St. Peter's, Guyana, Trinidad, and Antigua streets, which are being paved in collaboration with Orange Walk Central Area Representative Prime Minister John Briceño. Today, when we caught up with Mayor Ladrick Shepherd, he shares the tremendous amount of work which are currently being undertaken under this partnership, which also includes the building of a sidewalk in front of Chapel's primary school.
Well, as you can see right now, we're right in front of St. Peter's Street. But this is just the beginning. We're also doing Antigua, Grenada, double portion of Grenada Street that was in dire need of assistance for quite a while in Central. We're also doing a portion of Trinidad Street as well too. And there is also a project that we just started with the main walkaway for the students there in Chapel School and 28th Street. So it's a lot of things happening. And I must say that it's a collaboration with the Orange Walk Town Council and the Central Area Representative, who is John Briceño. So it's everything coming together, and we know for a fact that some of these streets really needed some assistance. That's the reason why, as you can see, as right behind us, you can see the roller preparing streets, getting ready to be paved. We're working closely with Tycorp and Sons as well too for getting most of these, and there is more to come. I must say that the residents from this entire area in Central has been coping with us. They have been removing their vehicles that needs to be removed so that we can go ahead and work on the streets. So I must thank them for that, because it's a combination between all of us finding ways to work together. That's one. I must say as well too that there's an upcoming huge project. I don't want to bust the bubble as it, because this is going to be huge. I'm talking about the mixing of Baker Street and Main Street. And as we speak, when I was talking to you, asked me where I was just out there with Tycorp and Son, because I think these guys are going to be getting the contract to get this street done. That's going to be a massive improvement in the hub of Orange Walk. That's where most of the businesses will be. So I'm giving the residents there a heads up that this will happen. We're just finalizing the total cost of it, and then we're going to be putting out some ads. And I asked them to please cope with us, because we know for a fact that since it's in the business hub and it's where most of the business is, we're going to be taking out some of their personal time. The business might have to be closing a little while so that these guys can get the work done. And we know also for a fact that a lot of students traverse that entire area a lot. We might have to have these guys using the back area of it. So I asked them to please work with us. If we're here to develop and uplift Orange Walk and turn it into a modern town, we need to start doing most of these streets and get it prepared properly.
And as the council continues to upgrade a network of streets across town, residents are asked to kindly bear patience for the temporary inconvenience.
Well, without the community itself, like I said, first of all, the corporation is one. Then also the paying of their property taxes is a next one too, because it's a huge plus. Without them, then from and the assistance, like I said, it's everybody coming together. The representative as well has the vision that know that these things has to be done. It's not only in Central that we're doing this work, it's also in the East that we're doing this work. So when we find ways to come together as one and team up, that's when more work can be done. I'm so happy that you know that the representative from Central sees it fit that he wants to do some work. Even although he cannot be here here physically, he has the Orange Walk Town Council that can carry out these work for him, and he can rest assured that these work will be done.
Works are also soon to commence in the area of Main Street. The double murder registered in Ladyville last week shocked the entire country, more so after the alleged killer took a selfie with his victims, who turned out to be his partner, 50-year-old Desiree Gonzalez, and his younger brother, 25-year-old George Rochester. Yesterday, 39-year-old Miguelito Encalada appeared in the Belize City Magistrate Court unrepresented, and no plea was taken from him since the matter is indictable. He is due back in court on June 30th. The case of Encalada is a chilling one because he admitted to killing both persons and directly showing police where his licensed handgun was laying on a chair found inside the home Encalada shared with Desiree. He had only gotten license for the firearm a few months prior to the murder. Today, the media questioned ACP Alberto Romero, Regional Commander for the Eastern Division, about Encalada's gun license.
Encalada had gotten a gun license.
He has that license for a couple of months now.
Is it true that, as far as you know, that he had applied for gun licenses many times before and had been denied?
I'm not aware of that, no.
Sir, was he, I know he was a barber by profession, but was he known to traffic in illicit drugs?
Not that we know of, no.
Is there any drug element in the investigation?
We collected several items from the house, and those will be taken to the forensic laboratory for testing. That is all I can say about what was found at that scene.
Do they include scales and that sort of thing?
No, they do not.
And is it true that he was sitting and, in essence, didn't put up any kind of fight to be detained?
When the police got there, yes, he was found sitting and he was detained.
And pointed police to the weapon?
The weapon was found inside the house by the police.
Is there any indication that the scene may have been staged, and can you also speak about the time that the incident may have occurred? Because obviously when police arrived at that scene, it was at a certain time, and people are saying it may have happened way before.
That is a part of the investigation. We are awaiting the official results to determine those.
Do you have any reports that the relationship between that couple would have been violent, that there may have been any element of domestic abuse?
Not that we know of, no.
So no reports before?
No.
All right, that's it for me.
Yeah.
Reports suggest that Encalada carried out the heinous crime after finding out his younger sibling was having an affair with his partner. This has been rebutted by the family of Desiree. George Rochester was shot to the head, while Desiree Gonzalez was shot to the face. Today, the Crystal Palace was filled with busy bee spellers as the Spelling Bee District Finals for Orange Walk took off. Our team was there to report the excitement. Elmer Cornejo has that story.
The best of the best primary school spellers today lined up at the Crystal Palace here in Orange Walk in hopes of being named the champions of the Orange Walk Spelling Bee District Finals. Students from the north, west, south and central of the district had the task of studying a glossary of words, and this afternoon they each spelled their way to the final round of the competition. Overseeing today's spelling competition was the Ministry of Education.
I think there was a lot of excitement today. I mean, you guys were here to witness that. And certainly, you know, the crowd was very excited. We anticipated that we would have a protest. We did have one protest. But I think that all parties were satisfied with the decision made by the judges and the MOE rep and the Bowen rep. And so the rest of the competition, I think, went well.
And now that you have your representatives for the national level, is the ministry going to be coming closer to them? Or I don't know how you do this after you win the district level.
Well, they get another list to prepare for the nationals. The first and second place winner will represent the district. And we also send the third place winner, who is the alternate. So in the event that the first or second place winner cannot attend, we have the third place present there, because you never know what could happen. So basically, we're sending 3 persons, right?
And now in a sentence or two for the smaller population who will be watching the news because they want to see Spelling Bee tonight on the news, what have you to tell them in relation to the importance of learning to spell and enunciate words properly in English?
I think it all starts with reading. Reading, and as I was looking at the list and looking at some of the words coming on the reserve list, the proper nouns, they're all, for the most part, names of countries or capitals, And I'm just thinking, if the students read more, they're more in tune with what is happening around the world, then that gives you the upper hand. So it starts with reading and a love for reading, a love for words, writing. All of that is part of what we promote along with Bowen and Bowen.
And after going through multiple rounds of words and spelling them all correctly, Carly Estrella from Nuevo San Juan RC soared to the top following an intense competition. How do you feel that you've won first place today for the district level?
I feel great. Even though other participants have lost, they've lost as winners.
And now that you're going to go to the country level, to the national level, are you going to study more, or what you're going to do different now because you have a learning experience today?
Well, now that I'm going to nationals, I would study even harder.
And what is your best moment of today? Do you think that you studied enough to have secured first place, or there was a little bit more that you could have done?
There is always something I did wrong, and there's always room for improvement.
And to other people who want to come into the National Spelling Bee next year, what you want to tell them after you've gone through the process of, studying and representing your school and then coming to the district level?
Well, study hard, try your best, and never give up.
Lining up at second place was 10-year-old Aiden Carrillo from Champagne Ridge Government School, who told us that the long hours of reading and rehearsing proved worthwhile. Tell us about how you feel that you came in second place. You're going to Belize City.
I feel happy and excited.
How did you study for today's competition? What were you doing during your study?
I was studying the words and learning the pronunciations and the meaning.
What was your best word?
My best word has to be pomegranate. Pomegranate.
And that is the one that gave you the second place, right?
Yes.
How you feel about representing your school now going to Belize City?
I feel good and excited.
Each participant received a prize and a certificate of participation, while first, second, and third place winners took home an added trophy in recognition of their win. Elmer Cornejo, CTV3 News.
The Spelling Bee is a partnership that Bowen and Bowen have with the Ministry of Education, Culture, Science and Technology and other sponsors. The Belize Tourism Board has been working overtime for the past few years. Recently, the tourism body announced that starting in June, Belize will be connecting more people to the jewel since Copa Airlines will be increasing their services to Belize from Panama City. We are informing that these new Copa Airline flights are scheduled for Tuesdays and Fridays starting June 2023, therefore providing a direct connection with Latin America, North America, the Caribbean, and by extension Europe, who provide most of Belize tourist visits. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Wednesday, April 26th here on CTV3 and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/CTV3BelizeNews or our YouTube channel at CTV3 News BZ. Remember to wash your hands and remain safe. From all of us here at CTV3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.